You know, Caitlin Clark is getting back on the golf course again this offseason, participating in the Annika golf outing. And she has a couple of caddies that are going to be taking the course alongside her in the form of Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull.
Caitlin Clark showed up to her golf tournament with two helpers, Lexie Hull and Sophie Cunningham. This is what's going on. The week after next, Caitlin Clark will be playing in a star golf tournament. The Pelican Golf Club in Florida is where the Annika is held. This is the kind of event that athletes do when they're not in the gym working out or hiding from everyone to heal. She needed caddies, but not just any old guy in khaki shorts. She wanted well-known people who would make the event fun and easy for the media. Are you excited to see Sophie, Lexie, and Caitlin on the green? Write your answer in the space below.
Sophie and Lexie kind of called this shot, or especially Sophie did, back before when it was first announced that Caitlin was going to do this event again. You could get into the comments section. You see there's Caitlin Clark with Nelly Korda, who was impressed with Caitlin's poise on the golf course last year, even with the crowds, and said she got into women's basketball because of Caitlin. Sophie Cunningham says Caitlin Clark need a couple of caddies. Lexie Hull with the smiling face or whatever that is, and some beer cheers. And Lexie Hull says, sign us up. And you thought that was the end of it.
Enter Lexie Hull and Sophie Cunningham, two of Clark's closest friends. One is becoming a fan favorite, and the other is a fiery personality whose future is uncertain. They show up out of the blue as her personal golf helpers. They're carrying the bags, giving fake serious advice, pointing out shot choices, and turning a casual show into personality stuff that everyone has to see. It looks like everything is going well at first glance. During the off-season, athletes and coworkers get to know each other better and have fun.
It has actually happened. It has actually happened because, as you can see here, Sophie Cunningham was announced as a guest caddy. I don't know if she's technically Caitlin Clark's caddy or not, but it says they'll be alongside Caitlin Clark, Nelly Korda, and in June for an unforgettable day at Pelican Golf Club on November 12th. And you have Lexie Hull. There you go. So Lexie and Sophie both taking part as caddies.
The more you look, the more interesting things become. It has been pretty quiet this summer when it comes to Sophie Cunningham's future with the Fever. For months, the stories have been going around. Will she stay, or will she get a great deal somewhere else? Fans have noticed that Fever hasn't been active on social media lately. Especially after Clark Mitchell and Boston's endless shows, it's been strangely quiet. As you might expect, the silence has made people wonder what's going on behind the scenes. A marketing statement says Sophie can now be seen in public as Caitlin Clark's caddy at a big event. Right away, people started making connections. This could mean she stay. This could mean that the relationship is strong. This could be the Fever subtly calling for unity. Or maybe Sophie just looked at her calendar, saw that it was empty, and chose to carry her bags on a golf course instead of staying at home. Right now, no one knows for sure.
Cunningham is now taking her talents to the golf course, where she will join Clark for the Annika Pro-Am tournament next week. Unlike Clark, however, Cunningham will not play in the tournament. She and Fever teammate Lexie Hull have committed to be Clark's guest caddies.
The news was about Gamebridge, a company that has ties to Indiana sports and the Fever, Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull, as well as professional player Nelly Korda and up-and-coming star Lauren Unwin, will be Caitlin's caddies at the event on November 12th. Fans now have something new to look forward to. At a golf game, their favorite basketball players are part of a hype squad.
Has opened up the opportunity for both Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull to be a part of this huge non-basketball event. So again, when you talk about Caitlin Clark opening things up for other people, it's not just on the basketball court. That is the kind of influence she...
Also, this really should be a lot more news than it is. If someone had said a year ago, Caitlin Clark is playing in a celebrity golf tournament, and 2 WNBA players are her caddies, the internet would have gone down. It would have been a trend on Twitter, been on ESPN, talked about on talk shows, and written about in sports blogs around the world. It would have been a big event in culture. But now it's happening almost without a sound. Not much is being said or talked about. Now we get to the real problem. This summer has been a strangely quiet one for the WNBA. It's like someone turned off the lights after Caitlyn's second year and forgot to turn them back on. The same league won all the games last year, breaking ratings, filling arenas to capacity, and making evening news. But now there are crickets. Think about where we were almost 2 years ago. Even though Caitlyn was still in college, her arrival was seen as the second coming of women's basketball. Every game she played brought her millions. All of the highlights went global. A lot of people who didn't know what channel the WNBA was on became very excited. When she turned pro, the league became more well-known. All of her records were broken in her first season. Everything. Viewers, attendees, goods, and more. Then, sometime between the start of her second year and the end of the playoffs, that fire went out. The progress stopped. The buzz stopped. The league that everyone was talking about missed the chance to go one better. And now, during the offseason, when the WNBA should be using Caitlin Clark's fame to make more stories, get more people to connect with each other, and keep fans interested, nothing has been said. It's too quiet. Because of this, the golf scene with Sophie Cunningham, Lexie Hull, and Caitlin Clark is more important than most people think. It's one of the few things that makes the quiet bearable. Fans might be able to hold on to that spark while the league rests during the most important summer in years. What's really important is how the league dealt with Caitlin Clark this season. The WNBA didn't enjoy her appearance or make the most of the huge amount of attention she brought. Instead, they were full of negative comments about her. Everyone had something negative to say about her every week, and there was always someone from the industry trying to do an interview. It didn't feel like a sports league. It felt like a social war that would never end. Also, it was hard for new basketball fans who just wanted to have fun. They turned on the TV to watch games, not to be put through some strange moral test where backing Caitlin Clark made you the bad guy. One NBA reporter even said that it's hard not to dislike Caitlin Clark in the current WNBA environment. Take a look. In the NBA, Skip Bayless makes a living by yelling at LeBron James, and even he is seen as a troll, not the moral center of the sport. Now though, things are different in the WNBA. People thought you were on the wrong side. If you weren't always picking on Caitlin or calling her too good to be true, that's not growth. That is harmful. Going to a celebrity golf event with Sophie Cunningham, Lexie Hull, and Caitlin Clark should be a fun off-season event that keeps people excited. It's just another noise in a league that's mostly quiet. But we should talk about the Sophie Cunningham angle. She was very important to the Fever last season. A veteran with a tough attitude who offered space, physicality, and leadership. That's the kind of player a young team really needs. But fans kept trying to get her fired last year for reasons that had nothing to do with basketball. That's the kind of fake news that has hurt the WNBA's reputation. So seeing Sophie show up as Caitlin's personal assistant makes me wonder, does this mean she's staying? It could be true or false. He or she might just like Caitlin. She might have just wanted to have fun on a nice day. Fans are getting everything they can find, though, because the league has been so quiet. That's what happens when there are no more plots. Fans start making them up. It's easier to tell when Lexie Hull is there. She and Caitlin get along well. Fans love them both together. Lex is also the perfect person for this kind of relaxed event. There's no trouble. Just two friends having fun on the golf course. But the bigger problem is how strange it is that something like this isn't seen more often. Everything about Caitlin Clark went off the rails last year. Even the smallest interactions, like a handshake, tweet, or comment after a game, went viral. Now, she and two of her friends go to a celebrity competition and it goes by without anyone noticing. Some of this makes sense. The initial thrill always wears off. The WNBA, on the other hand, couldn't afford that drop. They needed to build on the large number of new fans they got last year. They let those fans go instead. It's strange that ESPN, People, SportsCenter, Barstool Bleacher Report, and everyone else would have talked about Lexie Hull becoming Caitlin's helper during the off-season. It would have led to live streams, interviews, articles, and jokes. Almost no one seems to care about what's going on now. That's not something Caitlin Clark did wrong. This shows that the league failed to keep regular fans interested. Just being honest, I think the golf event will be fun. Caitlin has a great swing for someone who doesn't have much time to train. and she's great with fans, which makes any public speaking fun. The whole thing could be the best thing about the vacation if people see it. What with Sophie's energy and Lex's funny timing. But that's the trouble. We don't know if they will or not. This summer, when the WNBA didn't play, there was a hole. There were no big news or changes, and there was no off-season media push. And all of a sudden, even times with their most famous player seemed to disappear. This is Caitlin Clark, who is the league's main interest driver, the big star who got millions of new people interested in the sport. Still, an event she's planning with her friends during the off-season is almost completely forgotten. Nothing will scare the people who work at the WNBA more than that. They need things to do during the off-season badly to keep their fans interested. The NBA got good at this a few years ago. There's free agency, trade rumors, draft talk, and drama that feels like a soap show. The WNBA, on the other hand, is generally quiet, which slows down momentum. All of this brings us back to Sophie Cunningham. People shouldn't take the fact that she went to the event as a big sign. But fans stick to things like this because the league hasn't given them anything else to talk about. No one in a growing league wants this to happen. Also, Sophie doesn't get much attention on the Fever's social media, which is strange. They should draw attention to her if she is important. If they don't know what will happen with her, they shouldn't tell everyone about it. We can only guess since no one is saying anything. The truth is easy to see. There was a golden time in the WNBA. They got the attention from the big media that they had been asking for. Then they let bad attitudes, bad choices, and radio silence destroy it. Now the league doesn't seem to be there. That's bad news for all the players who worked hard to keep the game interesting. A story about Caitlin Clark playing golf with her coworkers should be happy and inspiring during the off-season. It just blends in with the hum of a league that has forgotten how to be important. This would have been big news a year ago. It's only a whisper today. And the WNBA might feel bad that they didn't keep Caitlin Clark. Are you excited to see Sophie, Lexie, and Caitlin on the green? Write your answer in the space below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on all alerts so you never miss anything. We'll see you next after you click the movie on the screen.